Hello, everyone in the Six Figure Systems Facebook group. I am so glad you guys are here. Today, I'm doing the live coaching calls, and I know that I have not really announced this as well as I'd like to. As many of you guys know, this has been a crazy past couple of weeks for me. So, within that happening, I want to make this a more normal thing. So, I'll be letting you guys know. I'm going to look at my calendar already for May, and I'll let you guys know the dates way further in advance. I'll actually get them scheduled out, but I want to make this a monthly thing for at least the rest of 2024. And I'll be keeping you guys posted with that as we go. Now, today we have Christina, and I'm so excited to coach you today. So go ahead and bring me anything you got, and we'll get started.
I don't know if I have anything particular.
Oh, and I
I will
always
say
like
that,
to start with a win. That's always like important to start with something
well,
positive, you know?
I'm getting my blog getting going consistently. So that is
Amazing.
that that is a win because it had been such I started in 2019, went to about 2021. No, I'm sorry. I started in 2013 and I went all the way through 2019. And so I've stopped for a while. And so now because I think it was becoming so cumbersome and I had all these thoughts about it that I was like, this is too much work and I just stopped.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting going again. And now I have, like, what do they say, informed pessimism or informed
A
optimism or something like.
strategic pessimism.
Yes. So now I know what it takes. So now it's
Mhm.
like I'm willing to do that again now that I 100% know what it takes. So
Oh my
if
gosh.
I'm at work, so hopefully I won't get interrupted. But
It's gonna be great, and if it
okay.
does, I'll riff, and I can give a fun
Okay.
lesson. Should be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, within it also, I love to, like, promote human beings who
Mhm.
are, like, in my universe. So, if you
Mhm.
wanna tell for other people who don't know you, who you are
Mhm.
and who you help, just in case they might use you or could use you in the future.
Okay. I'm a general life coach. You can find me at ChristinaLorraineCoaching.com. My Instagram is the same, Christina Lorraine Coaching, but it's not much on there. So I'm playing around. I'm like on Substack. I have a podcast that I've yet to release. It has about like 5 or 6 episodes on there. So if you're looking for it, on Spotify, it's called Thought Artistry.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. So you can find me on all those platforms, but the best one is Substack, Christina Lorraine, ChristinaLorraineCoaching.com, and then also on my podcast, which is Thought Artistry. So it's just
Oh my
about
gosh,
getting
it's
all
so
that
fun.
stuff. But
And
I'm a general life coach.
I'll link
So
it to
okay,
the peoples.
okay, great.
And I know that like whenever I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure what I want coaching on. If you
Mhm,
have something, if something's come up in the last couple of moments,
mhm.
let me know. Otherwise, I like to always think about my goals and kind of reverse engineering those goals and being like,
Okay.
okay, even if I don't have something that's like troubling me, sometimes I
Mhm.
think that we always come to coaching when there's a problem
Right.
versus we can always think about more like a strategic solution for whatever your goals are. So that could be a fun place to start too.
Well, I have two things. One is I was thinking this morning, like I want to have a thought that gets me into action. Like I was thinking, my cousin, she owns a bakery and it does really well in the Metro Detroit area. And she, her thought when she was building it was, if if I build it, they will come. And that was the
Mhm.
thing that just kept her going. And I feel like I'm looking for that thing. And I journal a lot, so I'm sure it will come up in my journaling. But like that thought that just really inspires me to just really get going, you know. And so
Yes.
I'm that's one thing to be coached on. And another thing that I'm working on is really the what do I want to say? Getting strategic in my days, like having a plan for my day. So
Yes. Okay, I
yeah.
love this. Let's
Mhm.
do let's start with the movement and then let's make the plan. Because I find that like
Okay.
if you've got a thought, and the reason why I said movement is you were like, we have a thought that wants we want us to drive us. And for those of
Yeah.
you that don't know, as a coach, we know that our thoughts create our results. So it's always good to have that coming in mind. Now,
Mhm.
for me, one of the things that I found is that like when I was thinking about like they're really, really good general thoughts, right?
Mhm.
If I build it, they will come. It's
Yeah.
like, this is gonna be productive. Like, things like that will be really, really helpful for you as your business grows. It's gonna keep getting better. But I found that if we think, especially as generalists, what can we do to make the world maybe, like, improve? What is the legacy we wanna create?
Mhm.
with your business. And especially,
Mm.
so I used to be a teacher. So
Okay.
when I started my business, I think you might know this, but like I was teaching during the day, coaching in the
Mhm.
night, getting
Mhm.
certified, learning all these things about running a business. And for me, it was like I really reflected on the experiences that I
Mhm.
had gotten as a coach myself. So I started getting coaching in 2018, started my
Okay.
business in 2020. And what I realized is that the way that coaching had changed my life was so profound. Like I had gone
Mm.
from being like a hot mess express to someone who was like driven. I ran a marathon and I hated running. Like I was able to do national boards and I hated writing. Like it was just like all of these things that I thought were impossible became
Mhm.
possible. And so
Mm.
for me, when I thought about my business, is like I was thinking about like how I wanted other people to like just wake up and really like really become examples of what's possible for themselves. Do things they never even fathom they could be dream could actually be accomplished and way sooner than they thought. So what's coming up here? And it was that a person at your work?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, okay, okay. It was
Yeah.
like, and if you need to roll, but I was like, that's totally fine. But I think that
Yeah.
like that can be helpful moving forward, you know?
No, that's I like that because like you said, the focus is not on you or like or your challenges or difficulties. It's on the person you're serving. And I think that's the thing because like my sister has a business, she does cards and she was just talking about like when it gets difficult for her and like even boring, like if you're doing the monotonous work, she was just talking about how like I can't focus on me. I have to focus on the person that's going to be excited when they get it in the mail, excited like when they, they finally get the finished product. And I really like that because it just but I think being a generalist and like still building your clientele, you don't have that feedback yet. You don't
Right.
have people like saying, "Oh my God, you're coaching." Although I shouldn't say that because I have had a lot of people that have benefited from the things I've helped them with, and so I guess at this, I guess it's like thinking about that. But then it's my brain wants to go and to think about like somebody who might not like what I'm saying, and like it's keeping my focus on what is going to benefit me and what's going to serve them instead of the people that it's not going to serve.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
even though I know you can't help everybody, but my brain still wants to go there. So
And I still think that's okay. Like I think
yeah.
as so when I was a generalist, I
Mhm.
help people overcome burnout. I help people manage their time. I help people with confidence. I help people with
Mhm.
balance and time
Mhm.
plans. So it's like if you can think about that, like being like, okay, like what are the things that coaching has helped you with?
Mm.
Getting broader and being like,
Yeah. Yeah.
how like specifically for you, you've been now was your blog from 2013? Was that a coaching blog? Was like how did that come about?
I write all the time, and so my mom is like, "You should start a blog," and so I was like, "Oh, that's a really good idea." And so I would start like posting things like from Bible studies, and then I started blogging about what I was learning in my relationships, and those were the blogs that took off. Those are the blogs that got all the traffic, and
Yeah.
so like I've been coached on like being a dating coach, but I don't want to sell myself as a dating coach just yet. I feel like I
Okay.
want to like you know work on seeing what works. If that's what's taking off again, that's what I'll do. But right now, I'm like, let me just get people. I don't want to sell myself on sell myself as that yet if I haven't convinced myself that I can get people results. I probably can, but I'm like, let me not do that yet. Like if that's what I keep getting, if that's what then that's what I'm gonna sell because then I can prove I've established I can get people results and I can prove the results through testimonials or whatever. But um that's how my blog started. And so now I'm getting back to that and like to podcasting and but it's more of a focus on a life coach. I'm a life coach. I can help you making offers, that type of thing.
Right.
So,
But like when you're thinking about like so it's like the relationships is one piece of it, right?
mhm,
But it's
mhm,
like you mentioned the Bible study. Like
yeah.
when you're thinking about like working with people, what kind of things do they experience that are like, or things that you experience if you haven't necessarily worked with people in the coaching industry just yet? If you are working with people, like the things that you've gotten as results for yourself, then you can be like, okay, I
Mm,
know, like for me, it was like time management. I was like,
sure.
oh my gosh, I used to be like extremely chaotic, had a crazy calendar, and then I
Mhm,
finally like figured it out. So, like, is there
mhm.
anything like that for you that you were like, oh, I could totally have someone do this?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. It's funny because on my podcast, I have a podcast that says 12 things I would have wanted a life coach to help me with, like when I was dealing with, and so there's all the things that I've learned, not solely through life coaching, but just like that I can help people with, or that I have learned by working with a coach. So,
What
I mean, I would say,
let's
oh,
list some of
go ahead.
those.
Some of those are embracing vulnerability. Some of those, I'm just trying to think of what else.
It was like, I've got your
Um,
website pulled up and I'll share it with everybody, of course.
okay, thank you. Um, embracing vulnerability is one. Just learning not to make mistakes, like not to worry about making mistakes, like and redefining and changing the way I've looked at that. I'm trying to think. I did that podcast like a few months ago, like earlier this
It
year.
was
So I'm
like,
trying to think of some of
I'm
the things
pulling it
that
up. I'm like,
oh
is this
my
the
my podcast is not on there. Like my Substack, my blog is, but not my podcast. So I have to put that on there. But
one?
you know
The
what?
faucet.
Actually,
Mhm.
actually, I can pull it up. Hold on.
Loving difficult emotions. One question that changed your
Mhm.
life.
Mhm. Yeah. No, that's my Substack. Hold on one second. But I mean, so yeah, no, these are things I've definitely have benefited from in
Yeah.
coaching, and so it's like I can as we're talking, I'll pull up the rest of them. But so you're saying I should use those to like kind
Yes,
of
and just
establish
think about
my
like those as just like I call them pillars, but like just anchoring tenants of like, okay, in the world,
mm,
when I'm thinking about like the legacy I want to create, when I think about like when I look back on my life, it's like I helped people to have better relationships. I help people to embrace vulnerability. And I would like take one of the things that you said, you were like embracing vulnerability, embracing
mhm,
redefining mistakes. I would think about like if people do that, what is the bigger result that they create in their life? Like
mm,
if they embrace vulnerability, they actually get to like maybe be more authentic. You know what I mean?
that's
It's like
true.
that would be my first thought, but like when you think about embracing vulnerability, what comes up there? What does it feel like for you?
That's a really good question. I like what you were saying about um being more authentic, but I also think it allows you to pursue the life that you want. Because
Mhm.
the branding, and you probably can see it on my website, the branding of my coach of my of my coaching business is live the life you're built for. And so I just want us to foster what we naturally have in us, but we just have to uh, I guess feed it or foster it in order to actually like the life you're dreaming of is the life you're actually meant to live. And
Mhm.
so, like embracing vulnerability or authenticity or whatever allows you to step into that and embrace not the other side of it, but the challenging parts of it, if you will. So, yeah,
Okay.
that's one of the things. Oh, go ahead.
I was like, this is huge though. That like what you said is like live the life you're built for. Your
Mhm.
dreams are supposed to be your reality. It was some variation of that. And I'm recording this, I'll upload it, I promise.
Okay.
But it's like the way that you said that was like it like I could feel a difference. Like, in
Mm.
the way that you were talking about it, it was like,
Mhm.
okay, your dreams are supposed to be reality. You want
Yeah.
to pursue the life that you want because it's the life you're meant to live. You're supposed
Mm.
to be doing this. I want to help people dream again. I want to help people.
Mm.
And again, for me, it was like redefining what's possible. It was like
Yeah. Yeah.
I literally all the things that I did with coaching, I genuinely thought were impossible. Like not even like stretches, not even like
Mhm.
a reach, but it was like I thought it would be impossible. And it's like I literally like made that's what became like my mission. I was like, how can I unlock your potential within the time that we work together?
I
Now for
like that.
you, like it's like that's what I feel like you're doing. It's like you're helping unlock people and their
Mhm.
like dreams to live the life they're built for, which is like so beautiful.
Yes.
Within the time that you work with people, how long do you work with people for?
Um, one of my last client, I did it for 6 months, so I guess that's probably generally what I say. I'm thinking about doing a group, a journaling group. Like I've
Okay.
gotten so many things through journaling, and I want to tell other people how to do it. I do have the other 12 things if you want to hear them. That
But I would love to. Let's
okay.
hear about here.
So one of the things is I didn't have to think the way I was thinking. This is 12 things I would have wanted a life coach to say. So I guess these are things to your point I could teach people how to do, and this is what life coaching has taught me. I didn't have to think the way I was thinking. How to redefine thinking about mistakes, um, that people are forgiving, and realized I wasn't forgiving myself. So how to be more compassionate to yourself, how to have my own back and support myself, how to trust myself. That's one thing I didn't know. And that it is important to follow your heart. So if that's a desire or dream that you have, that's important. Um, I said I would have wanted her to show me possibility. I think I would have wanted her to let me know that the things that I wanted were possible. Um, and one of the big things I think is that when I was going through like depression and
Mm.
suicidal thoughts, I just thought the mistakes I had made just were defining my life, and that is like I couldn't do anything about failures. And I would have wanted to know that it was not over. The story wasn't over, and it was still something that I could do to change that. I would have wanted to know what emotions meant, the ability to say no and to handle other people's strong emotions, being okay with the process, and I think that's it. So yeah, that's one of my favorite podcasts actually, just because stuff I've learned along the way, and it's funny talking to you about it now. It's like I really could do my pillars off of this. I didn't really.
You literally could. Well, and I just want to like thank you so much for sharing this. Like
You're
for
welcome.
you, like this is I also experienced suicidal ideations and
Yeah. Yes.
depression at a much
Yes.
younger phase in my life.
Oh,
And
me
I
too.
like,
Yeah, 12 years ago. So
okay, yeah. So mine
yeah.
was it was like 13 or 14 years ago
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm.
Oh no, it wasn't. Oh God, how old am I? I was like, I'm turning 30 tomorrow. So I'm like, how long ago was that? Like, oh my gosh, like 17 years ago. I was like
Wow.
13.
Yeah.
So very long time ago, but still, it's like it's amazing. The thing that I love about so many people who start businesses, it's like we experienced a lot of struggle and then we want to
Mhm.
serve other people, which is like just so amazing. And I just want to like, I want to help literally anyone who wants to work with you. I'm like, how can I get them to hear
Mm.
you? How can I get them to see you as a resource? I
Mm.
think people just don't even think of coaching as commonly as we do as a resource. It's like, how
It's
can
like
we make the
real. Yeah.
connection from the average human to more coaches? Like that is one of the things that like there was a coach named Sunny Smith, and I need to find her research because I keep referring to
Okay.
it. But she did all this like actual like empirical evidence and collected data in a scientific study where she ended up finding out that people who experienced coaching, and
Mhm.
I'm passionate about all service-based businesses, but coaching specifically has a special place in my heart because people who were experiencing stress, or I think they actually did study on like clinical anxiety and depression.
Mhm.
They most case studies, when you receive an intervention, like taking a pill, going to therapy, doing coaching, all those are interventions that are supposed to like, if you're a baseline 2 for depression, let's say,
Mhm.
you receive an intervention, you get to like a 5. But if the intervention stops, you go back to a 2.
Okay.
So it's like that was like all studies are showing the majority of things, most go back to baseline. If you receive an intervention, if something supports you,
Wow.
most times you don't get like continue to stay at a 5, you regress,
Interesting. Okay.
which is crazy. But
Yeah.
coaching, the study that she did showed that if you go and you get coached, you
Mhm.
go from a 2 to a 5, and even after coaching stops, you still stay at a 5 forever.
Wow.
Like it's like the research
Wow.
is, like, unheard of, like, it
Yes.
is so exciting, and I'm
Yes.
like, "How can we get more people to get coached?" Like, if we increase
Mm.
the baseline of the population, like, that is where I get, like, on a soapbox, I'm, like, so
Yes.
excited, I'm like, because I really do know it
Yes.
literally is, like, now scientifically proven that this changes lives.
Yes.
So for
Yes.
you, I'm like, "How can more people hear you, Christina,
Mm.
and how can we get more people to find you as a resource to serve
Yes.
them?" In what they're experiencing. And so what I would love to do is take a look at all 12 of these. And
Okay.
I almost want to put it in like, I think that some of these things, you've clearly been in the industry for a little bit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
sometimes we get into what I think is like lovingly called like coach speak. So it's
Mhm.
like when
Mhm.
you are an expert, when you have experienced a lifetime of growth, you
Mhm.
get so into like where you are now that like the average person sometimes needs like a couple of like more common terms to reach,
Mm.
you know what I
That's a good
mean?
point. Yeah.
So it's like the embracing vulnerability. I think as a coach, we would be like, yes, of course, we totally understand what that means. I can define it. I got it. And I want you to like think about for each of these things, and I'm gonna read them back to you to make sure I got all 12 because I only have 11 listed.
Yeah, you know what? One of
Yeah.
them,
Yeah, go ahead,
no, it's
Silver.
just I was just thinking, I was like, one of them I felt like it wasn't either framed correctly or something like that. But that's why I gave you 11 because I knew I skipped one. So go ahead.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I got them all. So I've got embracing vulnerability, redefining mistakes, and
Hmm.
then it was something like I didn't know the way I was thinking. I didn't write it down well. It was like I didn't what
Yeah, it was, hold on, let me say it right. I said, I didn't have to think the way I was thinking. So
have to
basically your thoughts are optional. That's probably the
perfect.
better, the better way to say
Thoughts
it.
optional.
Mhm.
And then forgiving yourself, being more compassionate,
Mhm.
trusting yourself,
Mhm.
following your heart, showing you the possibility, like what
Mhm.
you want is actually possible.
Yes.
7, 8, the story isn't over. You can change it if you want.
Mhm.
What emotions mean, how to handle strong emotions and saying no. Did I miss
Yes.
any? Or those kind of like,
That's pretty much. Hold on. I said, didn't want her. Didn't have to think about mistakes. Um, th- I think you were missing ones because I said how to redefine thinking about mistakes, and then I had also listed I wanted her to tell me that I didn't make a mistake. So I guess that could be related to like mistakes and also that your thoughts are optional. It was one other. Oh, it was important. It's important to follow your heart. Like if you have a desire there, it's a reason it's there.
okay,
And
perfect.
I was denying myself and my voice over and over again.
Yes.
Yeah,
And like I
yeah,
know what that means because I did it.
yes.
Now looking back, I'm like, those are the exact words I would use. If I was like, I
Mm,
didn't follow my heart, I would be like, oh, I know I was like, and it like there are different words like intuition and things like that. And
yeah,
your people might be there, right? They
true,
might be like that advanced, which would
true.
be super cool. I found that like I wasn't. I
Okay,
actually, so, and I think that's like helpful because I think a lot of people, it's like I think I started my coaching journey
yeah.
a very for lack of better words, it was like I was like I didn't know anything. Like I was at like my infancy of knowledge was
Mm,
so bare that like I think that helps me to translate things for other people because if
mm,
I so it's like I didn't have to think the way I was thinking. When my coach me told me that I was having thoughts in my head, I was
mhm.
like, if you hear voices in your head, you're crazy. So I
That
literally
totally
like to
makes
the
sense.
point where I was like, oh, it's like I would never Google thoughts the way I'm thinking. Like I would be because I was like, oh, my thoughts are optional. I'm like, I don't even know that I'm having thoughts. Like, you know
Mm,
what I mean? It's like so it's
yes,
to go almost like retrace your steps. And I would recommend this
yes.
for everyone because you, of course, are an expert. You know, it's almost like and I think this is also helpful. Like, have you ever like been in like a training or in like school? And you know, like there, like for me, it was like when I was in university, my professors, there were
Mhm,
some that were
mhm,
like very advanced, that were
mhm.
like they clearly they had done studies, they were great,
Yeah.
horrible teachers. They had no idea how to like be, and not that it was like it was just like I was like, I know I you clearly understand physics
Hmm.
you are not teaching me physics. You're just telling me what you know. And
Yes,
I need that like bridging the gap
yes,
almost to
yes.
get me there. So
Yeah,
it's
because they're almost like talking over your head, basically.
literally.
So yeah,
So what
yeah.
we're gonna do is I want you to think about for each of these,
Mhm,
what would somebody Google at like the beginning? If you're a generalist, I think it's
mhm.
helpful to think about like somebody who knows nothing about coaching. And maybe your audience might be a little bit more advanced, but it's like,
Sure.
what would somebody Google that needs to embrace?
Mm.
Like, when do they are they like, "Oh my gosh, this is such a problem for me. I'm not embracing vulnerability that I actually need to Google a solution for it."
Part of me
And
thinks that, well, I was gonna say, a part of me thinks that you wouldn't be Googling how to embrace one. Like you're like, because you're running away from it. In fact, you might not even realize that that's what you're struggling with.
Christina, why? Tell me more. Yes, you're on.
Why? Why what?
What would they
Why?
Google? What are they afraid of
Um,
something? Are they like, it's like people are judging me at work? Like it's like I'm about to give a
hmm,
speech. Like what is it? And you can also think about like instead of what they're Googling, what is a problem that they have at Tuesday at 2 p.m.? Like what is it? Why would they need to embrace vulnerability in a very succinct moment? And people will take actually like a very specific example and generalize it for themselves. Like that's how the brain works. So it's like,
Man, you have me thinking. I
yeah,
don't, because the reason, I mean, this used to come up for me a lot in dating, and but yeah, because you're right. I mean, I feel like also by the time I realized it was an issue, I was a coach or in the coaching world, so I thought about it a certain way. But
yeah.
at the same, you have me thinking. Um, I remember working with my dating coach, and I'm
Mhm.
married now, so but I remember working with my dating coach, and she she was saying the reason I overthink is because I had an issue with vulnerability. So I guess now, okay,
Overthinking
now
should
that I'm
also.
thinking overthinking. So I get that's one of the ways it shows up. That's not the only way, obviously, that
Yes.
vulnerability shows up, but it's like one of the ways because the root word of vulnerability means to wound or to to hurt or to wound. And so it's like, I guess you would think about it, where does a person think that they could be hurt or damaged in some way or take a loss in some way in trying to do, gosh, you have me going down this rabbit hole.
But you're
Trying to
seeing it
do,
now. Like, this is the
yeah,
connection that I want you to, like, every post that you
yes.
do, so what I wrote, how to stop
Hmm.
overthinking to get what you want.
Wait, say that again? You said,
How to stop overthinking to get what you
mm,
want, or to create what you want, to do what you want. Because you wanted to date.
okay.
You just were
Yeah.
overthinking before the dates. And so then you could go, it's like that's like the headline, the hook, the first start of things. And you're like, let me give you this example. I really I
Mm,
knew I wanted to be married, but I
yeah.
couldn't. It's like there was just this like block every time I went to go on the apps, on this, on that. I just felt like this, like, and I couldn't. And I knew that's what I really wanted, but there
Yeah.
was something that was stopping me. And the thing that was stopping me
Mm,
was overthinking. And how did I stop overthinking? I had to, and then you get into your expert energy. Like,
oh, okay.
you had to embrace vulnerability.
That makes sense
Vulnerability is something that you might not even think about is related
at
to
all. Yeah,
overthinking, but that's
that's
why
true.
you overthink. You're scared to put
Yes.
yourself out there to be wounded by
Yes.
these things. Our brains haven't
100%.
evolved, blah, 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 blah. It's like, and then being like, I would love to work with you over the next 6 months. And I don't know if you would like to, like,
Mm,
maybe on your podcast or things like that, but it's like, I can help you to do this and so much more. When you work with me,
mm,
one time period, and not only am I going to help you to stop overthinking, but I'll help you do all these other things. This is why I offer
yeah,
it would be
yeah,
helpful, you know?
yeah, yeah.
And I'm
I
thinking that
love that.
potentially one of these could be like a pillar of yours could be stress management, potentially. I was like, I don't know if you could see it, but I do think that people are Googling stress management pretty often.
That's
You're
true.
like
That's true. I know.
overthinking mistakes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
I'll highlight it in here. And we'll like play around with it, but we'll see. It might not be stress for you, but it could be
yeah.
something
You're
to
right.
play around with, you know?
Yeah, because to your point, I don't typically
Of
think of it that way. Like, I never generally say I'm stressed out, like, because I'm
course.
rarely ever stressed out. So, but at the same time, that might be a way someone else describes the same things that I'm dealing with and comes into my world via those words, even though those aren't the words I would use. So,
Literally, exactly. Like that's
yeah.
it's crazy, but it's like when you actually like I like my copywriting coach who I've
Mhm.
been working with calls it connectors. So
Mm,
it's like, you've got this. I am here. And I'm like, there's something missing. It's like, you know
mm,
what you're talking about. They are here. How can you connect and bridge, like again, bridging the gap
yeah,
to, to their where they are now, you know?
that's true. No,
Love
that
this.
makes a lot of sense.
Okay, let's go through. So that was just one of 11. And
Yeah.
I have time. I don't know if anyone else is coming. So we could go through all 11. I think it would really, really serve you.
Okay.
And I
That would
think
be helpful.
if you don't mind, I was like, if you've got the time, I mean, then we could also get into the plan as well. I just want to make sure that you also had time to talk
No,
about how.
yeah, I can stay on until about 3. Do you think you
Perfect.
can? Okay.
Amazing. We
Yep.
can knock it out, which I love. Okay, so what about redefining mistakes? Like, what is happening for them? What is like a Tuesday at 2 p.m. problem or something
Mm,
Googling that they need your support with to redefine mistakes? What happened? What were the mistakes they made?
well, like all of this came from when the 12 things I would have wanted a life coach to say is one of the major things, the crux in my life that I was able to these are the things I pulled out of that experience. So these were the way I viewed my actions as though like when I made a mistake, it was how do I want to say it? First of all, I viewed it as a mistake because one of my favorite quotes is by Miles Davis that says, there are, don't worry about mistakes, there are none. So it's one of my
Mhm.
favorite quotes. And so it just allows you to redefine your actions and really to be like, okay, what if it was supposed to happen that way? And just not think that nothing's gone wrong. It's like you've made a decision or you took an action and you don't like the action you've taken. And so then you define it as a mistake, but really it's not. So then you need someone to kind of help you see that different sometimes. Because a lot of times you don't even know that you can look at it differently.
Yes, and tell me what was, like, a time when that happened for you that, like, something was a mistake or if you don't feel comfortable, like,
Hmm.
like, what could be a you said with, embracing vulnerability, you were, like, dating. You were, like immediately, you were, like, dating was when I needed to
Yeah.
embrace vulnerability. Was there, like, for me, it was, like, marathon taught me resilience. You know, it's
Mm.
like or
Mhm.
it's like,
Mhm.
national boards taught me how to backwards design a goal. You know, it's like different,
Mm.
like, things like that.
Yeah.
Was there something that you were like, "Oh, I needed to redefine this mistake. This is something that, like, happened that I could point to?"
Yeah. I would say my job. I'm trying to think like
Yes.
when I've
Exactly.
made a quote unquote mistake at my job, like how I would freak out, and I'm like, you're. Then it's like you you have the action, you define the action, and you feel a certain way, and then you that generates more thoughts about that action, and so it's this cycle, and it's just like me redefining the fact that that was even a mistake. It was like, yes, maybe it didn't go the way I thought, maybe it had an unexpected result, maybe there was a consequence, but calling it a mistake is a mistake
Mhm.
sometimes. So a lot of times it allows you to like not be not to, like you said, be resilient or to persevere because you think that something's gone wrong. You think that you can't correct it. You think that you've messed everything up and you haven't. You're being
Yes.
human, you know. So
Well, and I think that, like and then when you stop spiraling, then you
hmm
can move on, you can
right.
get be
Proactive, you can be, think more clearly because you're not thinking of it as a
to do
mistake.
what? To think clearly, to do
I was gonna say to change it or to fix it or to because
Yep.
sometimes it can't be fixed, but to move on, that's
I
probably
literally
not.
wrote the words "move on." That's so
Oh.
funny. I literally was like, "Stop spiraling and move on." I'm
Yes.
like, that would be
Yes.
we're thinking about, like, a headline or something that, like, people would be Googling. It's like, I think
Mm.
people are Googling spiraling.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's, like,
definitely.
something that people are typically, like, thinking about. They're like, "Oh my god, this is, like, something that's going on for me." And it's like, you need to start things are gonna go wrong. I hate to
Mhm.
break it to you, friends,
Yes.
but instead of for me, when things would go wrong, I would make, it was a compounding effect, and I would almost, like, make it worse. Like, it's like, if you've ever feel like you make a mistake, and then you just, like, can't get out of the mistake
Yes.
spin,
Yes.
I've been there, done that, could write a book about it instead of recording a podcast, and let's talk about how you can move on. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
taking a little
100%.
levity, but it's like, I think that that would be so, so helpful for you for sure. Like, to be
Mhm.
like, this is totally optional, and you're gonna move on to actually being productive in your career, actually doing this and that and that, and, like, I think that would be that's probably, like I'm, like, putting these, like, little underlying things, which is
No,
fun.
yeah, 100%. And to your point, I was like, but the mistake theory or concept came out of dating too because it's like I would make an action in my dating life and I would be like, oh no, I made a mistake, and then it's like I couldn't recover from that because it was like, oh no, I made a mistake. It's like, what do you do when you're not perfect? What do you do when you made a mistake? But one, I shouldn't have even defined it as a mistake. Like, this is a process. This is you figuring it out. This is you engaging with life and with different experiences. This is you learning you. So yeah, it all comes out.
Oh, and you see that expert energy, it's like, if we can just get that connector right before that, it's like
Right.
it's like, I think if we had more people that were hearing that, they would be like
Mm,
they would care more about mistake theory because it's applicable to,
mm,
right?
yeah,
Like, have you ever
100%.
when you're, like, in, I was actually just talking with my partner about this. He was like, I really didn't care much in school because he's like, when am I going to use the Pythagorean theorem? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But then when he was in school, he was learning about how the Pythagorean theorem could help him repair an airplane engine. And it was like, it's applicable. I see how
Mm,
now I care. Now I
yes,
want to learn. And so
yes.
that's what we're doing for your people too. We want to make them want to learn because you are an expert. You get this stuff so well. And if we like
Mhm,
bridge that gap with a little
mhm.
application, it's gonna be
Nope,
really
I love it. I love it.
tell me, okay, you didn't have to think the way that you were thinking, that your thoughts were optional. This is like, and if you just hear the word, if you've got the what I would caution anyone else who's a life coach, if you
Mhm.
see yourself write the words think or thoughts, maybe like be like, why are they having thoughts? Like, let's get that, like,
Mm,
you know what I mean? It's because it's like thinking, thoughts, mindset. Those are words that like I see a lot of coaches using because I work with a lot of coaches, and it's it's a little bit more coach speaky than the average bear.
yeah,
What people
yeah.
say.
You're talking about thoughts, to use the
Yeah,
word thoughts?
like, when you're
Okay.
like, "You
Yeah.
need to shift your mindset." They're like, "I don't know what I didn't know what mindset was." I was like, "What is mindset?" I was like, "I know that it seems positive," but I was like, "I don't know what this is," you know? And I could
No.
really use a coach.
Yep, yep,
Clearly.
100%. No, well, yeah, because you're right. You really don't. It seems so meta, basically. Like
Yes.
it's just very abstract, very like, but I think that's the thing is like overthinking was the reason I would overthink is because I didn't know I could change my thoughts. I didn't know I could think about it a different way.
Give me one, like, was it at your job? Was it dating? Was it, your house? Like,
We'll say my job. I mean, because to your point, you can use them on all three. But like, say I made a mistake on my job, and then I would worry about what my boss was going to say. I would worry about, what would be the repercussions or the consequences for it, instead of just believing it would work out, just believing that somehow, this would all reconcile in my life. But because I didn't know, because I thought that I was believing basically in the power of what I was observing and not changing my mind to change what I would see, then I was at the mercy of only what happened and not changing my thinking about it.
and because you were at the mercy of what happened, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
This is so good. Worrying what other people would think, thinking about the repercussions.
Mhm.
What did that stop you from doing? Because, like, let's say you messed up a job at your job.
Okay.
You're
Mhm.
like, oh my, all these other people are like, what were you doing instead of moving forward?
Mm. What was I doing? That's a really good question. Well, one, I was overthinking because I didn't know I could change my thoughts, and it wouldn't allow me to be like, I was gonna say, at peace in a situation, or what am I not doing? That's such a good question, Megan. What am
You
I
know what I
not?
mean? It's like, what would you do? It's like if you were worrying about your job, it's like you weren't actually like solving. It's kind of coming to like the moving on, getting what you want, but also
Right.
like you can't solve problems.
Well, that, but then sometimes maybe something's been done, and maybe like you're talking about, it's just moving on. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm stuck in overthinking. What was the thing? Oh, you said that I couldn't change my thoughts. Me not knowing. You're saying when I don't think I can change my thoughts, what am I doing?
Mhm.
Basically, worrying. So this worrying. Yeah.
And so maybe this one could be like something like, almost like what we started talking about. Like I was thinking like strategic pessimism could be really helpful. Talking about like you could be worrying and make it productive, or you could be like worrying is something that's unproductive. It's like you want to like worrying isn't productive, something like that. Like just so
Yeah.
very
Oh, okay.
simple. Like to be
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, because it's not. It's really misusing your energy. But to your point, you can't say that on a as a title. You could, but I don't know if
I would
it'll.
say that like worrying is a way like is and for me, um I like to phrase things in a positive way. So it's like, I'm trying to think about like how we could rephrase like wasting energy, but it's true. It's like
Mm,
unproductive. Also, it's like, want to be more productive, stop worrying. Like, you know what I mean? It's like something
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? But I also think that like worrying is unproductive. Here's what you can do instead. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like,
That makes
here's
that, yeah, that makes sense. And
what,
then like you're saying, because that leads you into talking about that you can change your thought or change the way you're thinking about it.
yes. It's
Yeah.
like, so it's like, it's worrying is unproductive. And here's why.
Yes.
It is, you're spending all this time thinking about the past and things that are literally out of your control.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
literally can't change what you said in the meeting. You can't
Yep.
control what other people
Yep.
think about you,
That's
and
right.
you can't control the repercussions. That's
Mhm.
why it's unproductive. So we've got to focus all of that energy that is misused at this moment, and
Mhm.
we have to repurpose that energy and use it in a really productive way to focus
Yes.
on what you can control. You can
Yes.
control your thoughts, you can control how you feel, you can control your actions, and you can
Yes.
control the results that you create from it.
Yes.
So for every thought problem that your brain gives you, come up with 5 solutions. You know what I mean? Like that's like
Mm.
it's
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
yes, okay, so it's like the problem is these could be repercussions. Okay, here's a repercussion. I could get fired. That would be
Right.
unfortunate. Thank you, brain, for pointing out this problem. That's why I was like strategic pessimism could come in here too. And you'd be like, okay, what are 5 things I can do instead? If I get
Yep.
fired, yep, that could happen. The company could close. We could all get laid off. Yep,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
reality. I could worry about that, or I could come up with 5 solutions.
That's right. Because literally, I think when you're worried about making mistakes or other people thinking about your mistakes, I always used to be like, my boss isn't being patient with me and she hates when I make mistakes. But I'm like, no, Christina, you hate when you make mistakes. It
Yes,
wasn't about somebody else being patient with me. It was about me being patient with myself and me like allowing acceptance on my journey and all that stuff. So yes.
I love this so, so much. Also, Nilo, it is so great to have you. We are going in and for anyone who's joining right now, we are talking about how to take your anything that you're saying that is as an expert that is in maybe coach speak or
Hmm.
using really intense language and
Yes.
how to like really like we're translating it into common person vernacular.
I didn't even know how helpful of a skill this was. Like, I think because when you think you're saying things the way you say them, it doesn't mean that people aren't hearing you, but this allows you to be able to be more strategic and they can hear you even clearer. And I
Yeah,
didn't even know how needed of a skill. Like, I'm like, wow, but this will help me. So yeah.
oh, yes. And I think it's going to help literally everyone because it's the
Mm,
biggest problem I see is that so many, like, I
mm,
mean, I see it with everything, but mostly with coaches because we're so in it. We like are like, your
yes.
mindset, your thoughts, because we know we've like changed it, but it's like the average person is like, what are thoughts? What is mindset?
Mm,
I don't think I really need
yeah.
this, especially I'm not gonna, am I gonna pay thousands of dollars for this? Probably not because I don't understand it. But when people understand it, when they've got the application, they're like, oh, this is a worthwhile investment. I want to spend time, energy, and money
Yes.
person. I see that this is literally going to help me evolve as a human being, like we were
Yes.
talking about, like with the baseline. They
Yes.
can see it instead of it being something they have to make the connections for themselves, you know?
100%. Love it.
Okay. So you said for forgiving yourself, becoming more
Mhm.
compassionate.
Mhm.
What would be the thing they're Googling that they need to forgive themselves? And forgiving themselves, they actually I don't know. So what comes up for you or like a Tuesday at 2 PM problem?
I'm trying to see what I said about forgiving myself in the. Hold on one second.
And
Let's see.
Nilo, if
Forgive
you
me.
want some coaching on something, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll take a look at it. Otherwise, I think it'd be really helpful for literally everyone to hear the translation and also how we're going to make a plan to make this happen for you, Christine. 'Cause I'm like, more people
Oh,
need this for sure.
um. Okay. So forgiving myself was about It was about me being hard on myself, and it was part of my perfectionism. And forgiving myself allowed me to have missteps and for learning to take place and for being human. And I said, when you think people need to be perfect, no mistakes, then it stops you. So it allowed me to not only look at the way forgive myself, but allow that other people are forgiving of you. And I didn't realize that if I was hard on myself, I was also hard on other people, holding them to a very high standard of how I thought they should be. But it it was really the way I was holding myself to really an impossible standard because you're not able to. it's not like you're a mistake-free human. Everybody's human, everybody makes mistakes. So that's what I meant when I was talking about forgiving yourself.
Oh my God, I love this. Okay, so it's
Hmm.
like I have perfectionism stops you. Here's how to redefine. It's like and you could do like something like 5 steps
Hmm.
to redefine perfectionism.
Mm. Because you're saying that's probably would people Google that? I feel like it takes
Perfectionism,
some
I
like,
think, is so actually apparently my 7-year-old niece was
hmm
told that she's a perfectionist. It is now
mm.
literally like she thinks it's her self-concept. It's but I do think that she does have elements of it, but she's like
Mm.
a perfectionist. So like I have to make sure that this is the way it is. And I think it's now like mainstream enough that
Mm. Okay.
people might be like, oh,
Okay.
I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Like I think
Yeah.
if I like self-identify and self-select as it,
Sure. Sure. Sure.
so you could be like 5 steps to redefining perfectionism. And it would be like identify where you're holding yourself to an impossible standard,
Yes.
forgive yourself,
Yes.
notice where you're doing this across the board, um, compassionately like reevaluate anytime you get triggered, something like that. I think it
Yes.
was, but you know what I mean? Like,
No, I just love how easy you're making this.
of course. It's like this is like my thing. I'm like weirdly like I'm like I don't know why I do it, but it's quite helpful, I think, for some. What about trusting trusting yourself?
Let me see. What did I say? I'm glad I had this laid out.
Hear me
Hold
too.
on 1 second. Okay. So
Mhm.
trusting myself was okay. I said you have to trust yourself. If this feels good or lights you up inside, there is probably something there for you. Because I often wouldn't follow that. If I felt like this connection inside about something I wanted to pursue, I could often let myself be talked out of it. And so I wouldn't trust myself. I wouldn't trust what my heart was telling me versus what somebody else or I read or some book or whatever. But generally, it's somebody else that I was talking to that would tell me this. And then because I'm a Christian, I would always say because I trust God, I can also trust myself because He's in me. Like so,
Right.
that's how it's like you're following Him, but it's like a lot of times that's related, I think, to trusting yourself. If that's the alignment or what do I want to say? I
You're
want to say
catching it
voice you
though.
want to
You
trust.
hear yourself. You're like alignment. Like it's like maybe that could be a more
I'm like, if that's what you follow, everybody's believes differently in different
yeah.
things. So I was just saying like that's one of the ways I looked at it because I think some people can, I'm a Christian life coach, so I think some people can look like, why I can't trust myself. I have to follow, him. But and I feel like, well, if you
Uh,
believe that he's in you, then that is part of trusting yourself. But
Layers.
but I also use the quote that it's a quote I have that um you're the best person to live your life. That's why it was given to you. And I always say about like trust yourself to make decisions because God gave you're alive for a reason. You you make good decisions, and I think it's like trusting the fact that you do make decisions. Otherwise, we're putting and
Decisions.
one
Yes.
of my other favorite quotes is saying that like um other people trust wait, what was I going to say? When you trust other people, when you follow other people's decisions, you make their mistakes, and you want to live a life authentic to
You've
yourself.
got so much in there. I'm like, what can connect them to this? I'm like, yes, all of these things. I'm like, yes, 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 we've got this. Okay, this is so good. And I want you to like, I think trust yourself could be helpful if we add the word decisions.
I like that. Yes, because that's
Trust the
to your
decision.
point. That's exactly what it's related to.
Because it's like I think that we went like it's like the reason why they're not trusting their decisions is because they don't they're like they they need to trust themselves more in order to decide and go. I think
Mhm. Mhm.
that this is so good. Like I mean you see it's like if you just talk it out enough. I want you to think about like
Yes.
for me, so I'm trying to think about like, because I kind of just realized I was like, people just don't understand this like at all. I was like, people are not understanding what I'm saying. And I didn't understand what I was saying. People were like, my coach actually, I did 10 or 6 sessions with her and I didn't sign up to work with her.
Mhm.
And it was hilarious because I was literally like, I was just like, I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. And then when I needed it, it was really helpful. She was right there a year later. But I want you to think about like for all of these, how can you say it? Like just getting it into their terms and almost think about like explaining it to like someone who is not at all a coach. Like for me, I
Mm,
was trying to explain it to my dad and I'd be like,
mm,
what would I say to Jeffrey? I'm like, how could I explain this concept to Jeffrey? And my dad and I, we talk a lot about this stuff a lot. And I actually would. Like, I would be like, here's this concept I've learned. Let's talk about the polyvagal theory. I literally drew him like a polyvagal chart in the sand when we were at the beach. I was like really into this stuff. But then it helped
I
me.
love that
Took
theory, by
me
the
a
way.
long time to figure it out, but I was like, "Oh, this
Mm,
is what somebody else would say.
yes,
This is what they're thinking that I now know that can help them."
yes,
So I want you to
100%.
think about like for all these, and I know that we're coming up on time, so I want to make sure. And actually, Nilo can stay till 3:30. Thank goodness. I want to like get you to a plan because I'm like with your time. I want to finish the rest of these, and what
Okay,
we can do is I'll put them this in the Google Classroom and
okay,
I'll tag you in it. And if you want to do another post and be like, here, I finished the rest of these, we got through 5. So if you want to do the rest of them and then like send it and be like, is this a
okay.
good title? Checking
I
in.
love that.
Hold on. I got you. Like, I think this stuff is really
That'll work. That'll work.
um and from there though, you are a busy woman. You've got some time. You are also working full time.
Mhm, mhm.
So how can we reverse engineer your day to allow for more of this is I think what you were saying initially when we first started coaching,
Yeah.
you you now are seeing how you can serve people. Tell me about what you need for the plan.
I think I
Um,
just want to know what I want to get done in a day. Like I want to be more productive, more strategic, and be more productive about my days. So like my work day starts at 9, just leave at 5:30, but I come into work 2 hours early. So I get here like 7:30. So that's all me doing
okay,
whatever I want to do. So
what to
um
do in that time.
I just want to walk away like I have the time and I'm here and I read or write, but I want to like leave like okay, I got this done, I got this done, I got this done. So I think that's how I'm starting more to look at my days so I can be more productive.
I love this. And I think that like for me, this is exactly the question I had. I was like, I have very limited time to actually like get this done. What can
Mhm.
I do to move this business forward?
Yes.
There are 3 things that I would highly, highly, highly recommend you do.
Okay.
There are 3 aspects of your business and sales, but like you'll do sales calls like whenever they come.
Oh yeah.
You need to get more sales calls in. The way that I want you to do this is I want you to, and I'll send you, I actually did the how to find clients on social media. I'll send you this whole training I did about it last Monday. I think it was, yeah, last Monday I did a webinar. Did you see it? Yeah, I'll send it
I
to you.
did not. I didn't see it
Wait,
yet.
I'll tag you it. I got you. So
Okay.
what we'll do within that webinar, I talked about like there are 2 pieces to marketing.
Mhm.
There's one-to-many marketing called outbound marketing, and
Okay.
that's like just getting posts out, blog, that kind of stuff. That's one piece of marketing your business. The next piece is actually talking to people on a one-to-one level, having conversations about like, okay, yes, now that I'm on social media, now that I have a blog, how are people actually connecting with me so that I can
Mm,
help them? You know what I mean? Like, how
okay.
can I actually like meet people on a one-on-one level? And what I would recommend is talking to 10 people a day.
Okay.
So,
And
and
you
I
just
just
reaching out via social media, is that what you mean?
Yep, and I would
Okay.
say that you wanna start with your Instagram followers first, or whatever
Okay.
social media you have, and I'm looking at it right now, I was like, no matter what size your audience is, I know that it can be really, like, funky, but I know that it really does help, and when we're thinking about yeah, you've got 625 followers, amazing, so within
Mm,
that, who are they? Let's talk with these people. Why are you
okay.
here? Hey, so nice to talk with you. Thank you so much for following me. I just wanted to, I'm trying to get to know my audience a little bit better. I want to know what kind of things you're experiencing, what's going on for you. I know
Okay.
summer's right around the corner. Do you have fun summer plans? Like just starting with a soft, I talk about this in the at the end of the webinar, but it's like soft touching, building small talk, starting
Mm,
relationships and just getting to know people will get more eyes on your content and also help you build those relationships.
That's true.
And then you can start to ask them to opt in. Maybe it's like, hey, I've got a podcast episode about this. Let me send this your way. Oh my gosh, I'm going to do a webinar about this. I just wrote a blog post about this. Let me send this to you. It'll be awesome. Giving them value,
Okay.
giving them like ways that you personally know them. And what I did is I actually had a spreadsheet because I would forget people and I'd be like, oh my God, like I love you, Nilo. I love you, Christina. I'm like, we've had really great conversations. And I would totally forget everything because I'm
Yeah.
talking to so many people.
Yeah.
And we like just having a way to track that would be helpful. And if you talk to 10 people a day, 30 minutes a day, what happens is that's 2,500 conversations a year.
Mm,
It plays the odds. So even if, let's say, Jack doesn't know, he's not a woman and he
yeah.
is like a follower, but he might know somebody who you can help. And then that could be like the next level of getting support. So I would say like from 7 to 7:30, talking to 10 people would be
Yeah.
what I would do every day. And
Okay.
then you can spend that extra time Monday through Thursday. I would say spend 7:30 to 8 or to 9 marketing, doing like the posts, the blog, the email, whatever you need to do. And then on Friday, I would have a way to track your output. And I would be like,
Okay.
okay, what did I actually do like this week? How many people did I talk to? How many posts did I get out? How many webinars did it, or not webinars, how many podcasts did I do?
Mm-hmm.
And I would actually track that stuff and be like, okay, what could I
Okay.
do this week?
Wait, say the last part again. You said how many
What could I
like
do
posts,
better
how many
next
podcasts? Okay. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
week?
So no, this was awesome. So you said you'll tag me in the thing and then I can build off it from there and then we can okay. Awesome.
Absolutely. And
Awesome.
seriously, like this was so, so helpful. Thank you so, so much.
Definitely.
Okay. I so appreciate you. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I've got you.
Okay. I'll just stay on. I can't talk like because but I'm working, but I'll just stay on to hear what
Okay,
you're
great.
gonna do. Okay. Cool.
And I call it managing leads. So I'm like just writing this down on your plan. I'm like, this is what I would do if I were you.
Awesome. Thank you
Of
so much. This is so
course.
helpful. Oh, and congratulations. I meant to say on the engagement and happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I was like, oh, you guys are the best. It was so
You're welcome.
amazing. Okay, Nilo, I'm so glad that you were able to stay on a little bit longer. I was actually we're gonna have lunch soon. I was like, I'm sorry, I was texting. I was like, hey, just heads up, don't come down here yet. It's
Oh, it's
it's a
okay. You can
forever.
go have lunch. It's
No, no,
okay.
no. I was like, I already had I had a really solid brunch and now we're having like a snack. But I love it starting with a win. So tell me what is going on for you, Nilo.
I um okay, sorry, my brain just went blank. You
I
said
know,
what
right?
is a win? And that's a really good question because I feel like I don't start out my days thinking about my business in that way. And that's really interesting
Yep, it
because
takes
I
five
just
positive thoughts to replace a negative thought. So that is my
yeah,
favorite thing
I'm
to
like,
do.
wait,
I
what's a
would
win? I am so I do remind myself daily that I am literally living my dream. Like I worked so hard to pay off my debt and save up so that I could go full time in my coaching business. I left my teaching job last year in at the end of May, and
I didn't
so I do remind
know.
myself, like literally, I'm living my dream. This was my dream to work for myself, to be my own boss, to coach. Like that's,
Oh yes. Oh
like
yes.
there's so much that comes with that as far as like just the sense of accomplishment goes. I think that's the biggest win. That is something that I will always count as a win, no matter how I feel about any other part of my business.
I love that. I love that. And I love your energy so much so. And I know that you also, when we are living our dream, there are still things that could use a little improvement. And so I know that you would love some coaching on how
Uh,
you feel when clients aren't reaching their goals right away necessarily.
Yeah, I just and I was thinking about that when you were talking. I was just thinking, I was like, I wonder where that comes from. And I think part of it comes from being an educator, being a teacher, because you like I am a photographer and I that like is 100% on me to deliver an image that I am happy with. You know what I mean? Like that is, I would say like 98, 99% on me, and I can rely on myself to deliver a result. But when when you're talking about coaching, it's like it's a little bit different. Oh, I don't have my camera on. Let me turn that on. I am I'm parked like in the side of the road. I'm not driving.
Oh my God, I love it.
Um, but like when you're coaching, you're obviously you do have to like detach yourself from the results, but I know Stacy says don't call yourself a baby coach, but I still sort of like consider myself a baby coach. And I'm like, I sort of take it personally and I'm like, am I doing a good enough job for my clients to reach their goals? Like if they're not showing up to their appointments, or if they're not like responding, like on obviously I'm not like hounding them with, hey, are you working on your sheets, or are you working on your modules inside the Kajabi course that I have? And so I am taking it personally that they're not showing up for themselves.
Yeah.
But I was thinking as you were talking, I was like, I wonder if that comes from being an educator, because we have to show results. Like, why aren't your students getting results? What is
Yeah.
it that you can do? You know what I mean? Like so many years
And it's
of
something we
being
have
in
to like,
education.
oh yeah. And it's something we just like need to retrain. It's a totally different relationship with a coaching client. Like, and I was totally
Yeah,
this way too. I would send people podcasts and be like, make sure you listen to this. And I'm like, do your thought work every day. I was like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
also, like as a coach myself, I found that I got results by doing thought work every day. I literally would send Jackie my models every single day
okay,
of all the journals I did. And I was like, oh, because that worked for me. Of course, I was like, if they don't do this, they won't get the results. So my brain
yeah,
was, not only was I a teacher and had that like ingrained in me to be like, oh my gosh, they have to do the thing, but it was also coming from like my own lived experience. And I would freak out and be like, but have you done your thought work? Have you done this?
yeah,
And it's just a very different relationship when we're thinking about the relationship with a coaching client. And for
yes,
you, especially because of course I made a Google Classroom, you made a Kajabi class with modules and things like that. And I want you to think about, instead of that being the requirement for them to get results, what if just showing up to the calls they do show up for, because you mentioned they don't show up for their appointments sometimes. What if that was
yes,
enough for them to get the results?
yeah. And I am, I am coaching women to, my course is called Get It Done. So, um, it's a specific goal that you're working on. I'm having a hard time articulating it right now. But basically, whatever it is that you want to get done, for me, it's like I'm working with clients right now who are working on decluttering their homes. They're working on like completing projects that they have had. Like the whole point of the course is to get it done, and the different modules talk about different, things you can put into practice. Now, when I am helping these women, they're saying they're not showing up to the appointment because they're saying they're using that time to actually work on the thing they want to get done, like declutter their closet. But then it's like when I check in with them, they have not gained any traction, right? So um, one particular woman, she keeps saying that she's working towards her goal of decluttering her home, starting from her closet and then working on the garage. But she she feels like the coaching call takes too much time, which is it's an hour a week. And so, I did impress upon her the need to like for me to show her her brain. So the coaching call is what is like the magical part of the whole program. Like the course is not. The most important part is to like talk one-on-one to your coach, to like for them to like show you what it is you're thinking, your mindset blocks and all those things. But So, but then I'm like, okay, don't push too hard because she's an adult. Like, obviously, she is making her own decision. That's totally fine.
Yes.
And then,
Well, that's the thing I want to like show. Like, I think that for me, it was because I know exactly what you mean when people be like, okay, it's taking too long. It's things like this. It's like the coaching call takes too much time. They're not seeing the value in it.
yeah,
And or so your brain is like, let's show them the value. The other thing would be one of the things that I found is that I literally had a client, literally, if you go back and look at John Gary, he wouldn't mind it. He gave me the testimonial. His testimonial was like, I think Megan wants my goals more than I do. Like,
yes,
and
I
I
feel
was
like
like,
that's so
oh my
true.
God, I want this so bad for you. I want you to declutter your closet right now.
Yeah,
And what I found is that I almost was putting pressure on people to get their thing done when they just needed somebody to like and because for me that's what I wanted. But for you,
yeah.
one of the things that could be really cool is you could be like, okay, my goal is that you leave the time together. How long do you work with people to do this? You have a group and one-on-one, right?
So three, yes, so 3 months or 6 months. So she is in my 6 month, um, you know, the 6 month package that she chose.
Okay.
So yeah,
So what I would do is I would just bring it back to the consult and I would be like, hey, so when we're working together, these are I just would love for you to experience these intangible skills. So maybe it's not the tangible closet is decluttered,
oh,
but
okay,
maybe it's like you know how to stay organized, you know how to manage your time, you know how to do you're confident in declaring in getting things done. You have
yeah,
a proven process. These are the things that I would love to make sure that like you leave here experiencing. And I just want to check in and like see if there's anything like over the next 6 months. It's like if you have already made this investment in yourself and you're feeling complete, great. Awesome. Like
yeah,
that's fantastic. I'm so glad that you feel like you got those results already. And I just want to check in and make sure that like that's what you're still like my goal is just to over deliver and make sure that you are
yeah,
feeling like you've had the best 6 months ever, that you know how to get it done. And that is
yeah,
why we're pushing this. But maybe she's like, yeah, I want to do a call like once a week, once every other week. We know in our brain, we're like, okay, we're never going to market this. And this is definitely not what we would recommend. But if it's just this one person, then maybe
yeah,
having the pressure alleviated could actually be like, oh, and then they start coming every week. It's like that's what would happen with me when I would have my clients like that. They'd be like, okay, it's like I'm gonna have to take the call and it's gonna be 30 minutes here. And I'm like, as long as you feel like you're getting what you came for, that's
yes,
totally fine. Like one of my clients, she would be like, oh my God, my meeting went long. And we'd have like 20-minute meetings. And I was like, if that is
okay,
what you have capacity for, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to show up in the time frame that we allowed. Meanwhile, so that's like dealing with the current situation you have and in your marketing, then we can speak to new people and be like, okay, this is like instead of trying to convince her to become like a person who wants to come every week and make sure that she gets it done, sometimes that might just not be who that current client is in the moment. I know when I first started coming
okay,
to calls, I was kind of all over the place and I'd be like, okay, this is the amount of time I have to get this done. This is helping me. But I was like, I would come late. I wouldn't take notes. I was never like, I wasn't showing up fully until later on. Later on, I was like, okay, I'm here, I'm ready. But it took a little bit first in order for me to get there. So it's like
okay,
different kind, just like allowing them to be showing up in whatever capacity they want. If they feel complete and they're done with coaching, like it's super fun to work with them every week. But also, they paid you, unless they want a refund or something, then we can be like, are we still, would you like to continue? Is this going on? Is this good for you? I'm here to serve you in whatever capacity you need. And for future clients, being like, I know you want to show up weekly. I know you want to show up like ready. I know you're ready for change, like selling to the people who are more in that, like, they want to show up for the weekly calls too and don't need to be sold the investment afterwards, you know?
I see what you're saying. So, like, even giving her an option of, I think she's feeling overwhelmed, and I understand dealing with clutter, like to increase your productivity, that is what I, help her with, to help you get it done, whatever it is that it is. And in her case, it's the clutter. And I know that clutter can be such a debilitating thing. Like it can weigh on your spirit and heart and body. And so you're right. Like I didn't even think about like telling her, hey, do you want to meet for 15 minutes and then take the rest of the hour to declutter, or talk to me while you're decluttering? Like,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Literally, like
That's
I would have
such a big
clients
deal.
that would be doing, they'd be
Yeah,
folding laundry while we were coaching together. I'm like, that is fine. This
yeah,
is what you need right now. That's great. I was like, I totally get it. I can still coach you and I can send you the notes and I can send you the recording. That's all you need to do. You don't need to do any worksheets. You don't need to do anything else. Just show up
yeah,
you have. I think that would be awesome to help her. Like, and I think sometimes like, especially like that jump start of like being
yeah,
like, this would be awesome helps. Like it's like I know that like for me sometimes it takes me even on my days when I'm like supposed to be like doing admin, if I coach first it just helps me jumpstart my day and
yes,
then I
yes,
like,
yes,
you know.
yes. Yeah, I think you're so right. I think she's definitely feeling, um, she's definitely feeling overwhelmed, and it didn't hit me until just talking to you. I think just offering her that I can be there. You don't have to have your camera on. You can just have me there, and this is me being like your shadow. I think, and that may not work for her, and that's fine. But
With 5 other solutions for her, for sure.
yeah,
I'd be like, okay, what would be 5 other solutions? It's like, okay, the first idea that we have is you can be like a phantom. It's like phantom
yeah,
partnering. Have you ever heard of that? Like
I,
it's like
I can be like the ghost
yeah,
hovering
go
around.
buddy and like helping like that. You could do 15-minute call and then she gets going. You could
Yes,
do a full hour no video, just her cleaning and you coaching. Um what are 2 other
and
ideas
she
for her?
I feel like two other, like she could split it up. She does not have to work for a whole hour um in the closet. She can literally set a timer for 10 minutes to work in the closet and then go to the garage, and then on her way taking things out to the car or the trash, spend 10 minutes in the garage. And for that day, even if you define your own level of productivity, that measured, that depends on you. So if she feels that she's productive after 20 minutes of working in her home, I know from personal experience that that alone is just boosts your sense of confidence so much. Um and yeah, like that. And I'm like so passionate with helping women like reframe what productivity really means. It's not a hustle culture. It is literally what is within your reach, and getting out of that freeze mode. Like, because we're all frozen and
Yeah.
our brain is like stuck in this. I can't get it done. This is too much. Oh my gosh, I can't even move a muscle. How am I going to get all of this done? Like I was that woman, and that's why I want to coach women who experience that. Um, and so yeah,
Well, and so I've got just like so many, so it's like interesting because you were like reframing what productivity means. I would like for you to do that for your coaching business too.
okay,
I want you to reframe that like productivity doesn't mean that my clients cross a mark, that
okay,
they're completely done with their closet, that they get this, they get that, because you can't
oh, I
control.
see. Yeah, I can't control her.
You know what I mean? And like, so you were
Yeah,
saying, like, when we first started, you were like, when we were talking about you in your photography business, you were like, oh, in my photography business, like, I've got this. I'm like so good at delivering these results. I, I know exactly what to say, exactly how to help them. We need to do that with coaching. We
yeah.
need
How
to
can I
like,
reach that
yes.
coaching? Yeah.
So what is the result that you guarantee? What what is the result you guarantee? Is that they get it done or is it they have the skills to get it done?
Oh, that is so true. I don't know. You
I
are
think
so
it
right.
should be the
Okay.
skills because you can't
It's the
build.
skills.
Yes.
Awareness. So like bringing awareness, I talk a lot about bringing awareness, being gentle and compassionate with yourself, because we beat ourselves up in this, like, I gotta hustle in this culture sort of thing.
Okay,
There's a
so
lot of
I
it is mindset shift. It's really not.
was literally
Yeah,
Christina knows what I'm about to tell you is I would love for you if you have a moment, just listen to the beginning of this call because
okay.
I think that like this is the thing that I see is like the trickiest thing for so many of us that are experts is like it's awareness, it's compassionate,
Yeah,
it's mindset, but the average bear does not know those words.
yeah,
Like
that's true.
Jill on the street who could totally use you and helping her getting it done she's never heard of awareness, probably
Yeah,
no idea what
yeah.
being compassionate to herself means, other than maybe taking a bubble bath of self-care, like that maybe is like
That's
the
what we
only,
think self-care is,
but it's
but
not,
you
and you
know,
and I know that.
yeah,
But that for the average person, what we're going to do is we're going to create connectors to bridge the gap to like what is awareness for them, what is compassionate for them, what is mindset for them, what is the problem they're having at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday that
yeah,
you awareness, compassionate thinking and mindset help them with.
yes, and yeah, that is so true. I think so. So here's what happens, and I this, you solve this by like repetition and consistency. Um, I myself, I think, experience like freeze or fear when I see that somebody's not showing up or like somebody's not
Mhm.
working on their goals, and I um then okay, too many thoughts through my head. The
I
next
know,
thought
I
is
feel you.
like so many thoughts. So okay, they're not showing up, and I'm thinking I'm not a good coach. And then after that, I don't show up, and then I get out of practice of actually communicating what it is that I help you communicate with, which is like you're rusty. Like I have let this car sit here for 6 months, and then I'm having a hard time turning it on. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, I
it's
do.
that it's that like how do I get this going? And then my confidence plummets. So I think what I need to do is separate these things and not have them depend on each other. Like
For
this
sure.
is not a machine that drives the next machine. This is separate. And
Yes.
I can have clients who don't show up, who, let's just say, quote unquote, waste their money and like don't get anything from me. And I can still show up confidently thinking I'm a good coach.
Oh my
And
Milo, though, you
you know
have
what I
to
mean?
change those thoughts. Like they didn't get anything. They are wasting their money. Just change those thoughts because like I had clients that I genuinely like didn't even know. I was like, I feel like this truly, and I'm just saying that like, just I know because I know how to catch it because I was there. Like I so feel that like
Yeah.
they're wasting their money. I'm not sure if they got what they came here for. I don't feel like they actually improved. Messaged me like years later, and they were like, "This was the most pivotal thing I could have ever done." People who I
Okay.
worked with for a year, like a month, not even like our full coaching session or full
Yeah.
coaching package. They were like, this was a game changer for me. Thank you so much for showing up for me. Thank you so much for being there. So
Yeah.
just like, just notice, like, go back maybe and like listen to those thoughts that were like just limiting beliefs. Of course, they're going to be like
Yeah.
confidence. And then I would
Yeah.
like think about like what's an empowering way. It's like, so one was like, they wasted their money.
I
What could you have a better
yeah.
thought instead? What's a more empowering belief you could have?
So I'm connecting that they wasted their money with how quickly I want them to get the results. But everybody gets results at a different rate. So just because I didn't see their results within the 3 or 6 months they worked with me, that doesn't mean that they didn't have like the my services didn't have any impact for them at all.
Yes.
So it's like they don't have to have quick results.
Yes. It's like it's safe for people to go slow and get results. Like, because I think it like it
That's
literally when
true.
you were saying like the response is so aggressive, I think like it feels really scary. Like as a teacher, as like in your past, like and you also is how you want to show up. Like when
Yeah.
like of course we want people to get fast results. I want every single person that works with me to make 6 figures right away. right?
Yeah.
But I also
Yes.
need to trust the timing. I need to trust that, like, it's like I'm doing the best I can. I'm giving them
Yes.
literally everything I possibly can. And it's safe for people to have slow results.
Yes. Okay. It is safe. That feels so good. That lands. That
And just
lands
like,
really good. Yeah.
I literally think that like your brain is going to offer you, it's like they're wasting their money if they're not getting results right now. Like they're wasting it, wasting it, wasting it, wasting it. And versus being like, hey, it's safe. Slow results are still results. And it's my job to show up and do the best I
Yeah.
can. I did. I showed up the best I can with the knowledge I had. If there were clients that I would totally go back to and coach them differently, looking back
Mm,
years later, but I can't control that.
yeah.
I showed up and I did the best I can. I'm really proud of myself for that. And I'm also going to have like I don't want to put pressure on them to have fast results either because everyone is in their own pace. Everyone is at their own
Yeah.
time. Like I want to give them that self leadership to show up in that way that like yes, they're going to like I trust them too. And when you know what I mean? Like having that feeling
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say one last thing before you go to have your lunch, and I hope that you don't get angry. Okay, so then so all of that culminates to me not showing up and then not working to like get any additional paying clients, like
Yep.
making no additional money. Like I'm currently making no money because I'm stuck. And I keep looking for podcasts. Like, how do you get unstuck? How do you get unstuck? I'm
Which is
I'm like hanging on like a jacket on a nail. Like it's just
yeah.
hanging there.
So can you to help people get it done? I'm guessing that you help them to get more organized, right? The way they
It's
think and the way that
so
they show up and the way they feel.
so the program Get It Done, which I'm so in love with. I am so in love with this thing. It's amazing, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. It is designed for anybody who wants to work on any goals. It can be like it's to increase productivity. It can be improving your relationship, it can be decluttering your garage, it can be losing weight. Because those, like you and I know as coaches, like the same principles apply to every single thing. And
Yes.
it's like I was like the anybody and all of us on this earth just want to get it done. Whatever that it is. They want to get a job. They want to apply for, internships. They want to, have a better relationship with their um uh kids or family members, but I seem to attract women who want to just increase productivity around their homes. Like I seem to have those are the women that are like in my group of people. And this particular client is like the only paying
Of course. It's always
all
ironic because in your
the other
brain,
women,
oh
they
yeah.
are in my like original three.
Well, and
So like
I
she's the only paying one. Yeah.
I think the service went out a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm like so sorry. I did not mean to cut you off. But I
Oh,
think that
sorry.
the goal is to make money. Of course, your brain is looking for evidence that the only person who's paying you isn't getting results. So it's like finding all these ways to like self-sabotage you a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think what's happening. Now, if we're thinking about people who want to be more productive around your homes, right? What we have to do is we have to put that fear about people not getting their results. And for me, I did a money back guarantee, still have one. I was like, yes, okay, if you don't get results, if you don't learn how to become less burnt out, if you don't know how to manage your time, if you don't know these things that I knew mindset was like the whole thing. It's like stress for me was the unintentional model. Confidence was the intentional model. Monday hour one, time management.
Yeah.
Work-life balance, boundaries. Future plan was the wheel of life. So it's like I took all those like things that were like intangibles and I was like, I guarantee that in the 6 months we work together, I'm going to teach you this in one of the 6 sessions. These just 5 things, at least in one of the 6 sessions. I know that you are going to have access to this. I know that if you just show up, I can help you with at least these couple things. So for you, if you put you on like your fears about not being able to deliver results for them and think about them. Nilo, can you think about like, I'm like my mother, my aunt, all these people who are struggling, they are stuck, right? They are stuck.
Yeah.
and they don't want to get things done. I want you to look at every single one of your Instagram followers. I was just doing this with Christina, and I want you to like look at them. You have 328 people that are following you. Some of them might be business coaches,
Yeah.
some of them might be whatever. But why are they following you? Do they
Yeah.
need the people who are working with you for free currently? Could they get
Yes.
results paying you?
That's a good
Like
question.
I did. So I worked my
Yeah.
coach for free, didn't show up, didn't do any of the podcasts. Finally, when I paid her, I actually started getting results because I was ready. You know?
I see. Okay. Yes. Yes.
So I want you to like put this intention out there. How many women would or humans would you like to help get it done in May? Like how many more would you like to invite in? And I want every
I feel confident saying 10, like that's a number I can confidently serve and spend, um, like give my best to. Yeah.
so I want you to think about that. And I want you to look at your 348 followers and think about just 2 of those people a week. I am holding space for that vision. Like if you love Get It Done as much as I already do, I'm like, I already love it so much for you. I'm like, if we know that there are 10 people out there that could really
Mm.
use this, would you be willing to go and find them wherever they are? Like, are they in a women's group? Are they in a networking group? Are they the women at like who are these people? How can we go find them in May? What kind of things that we could we do to get 2 consults a week?
Okay.
And that's what I would recommend for you. And if you want to coach 10 people, that at least gives you 10 extra hours that you have
Yes.
in some capacity. Go then within Christina's coaching. I was like, find 10 people a day for 30 minutes of those 10 hours a day. It's 2.5 hours. And I would recommend like 30 minutes or 30 minutes in the morning, talk to 10 people, 30 minutes in the evening, respond to people. And then at least within the month of May, if you do that Monday through Friday, that's 10 times 5 days a week. So 50 people a week times 4 weeks. That's at least 200 of your 328 followers. If you just talk to
Okay.
10 a day, that makes it statistically inevitable for your business. Like at least maybe if they don't know somebody who could work with you, maybe they could become a brand ambassador. It's like, hey, if you know of any people who are looking to be more productive, this is what I do. I'll use you as a referral and you can use me as a referral. Maybe we can do an Instagram live collaboration. Get creative with it. Have fun.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend for you here.
Okay.
How are you? How does that feel, Nilo? I know it was a lot
That
in the
feels,
message.
no, that feels really good. I feel like I, I feel refreshed. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't feel overwhelmed a lot at all because I love learning. I have the capacity to learn and I just love it. Like that's just comes naturally to me. So I'm just soaking up what you're saying. 10 people a day is totally doable. Like
We're
when
gonna
you
find
think 200 a month, that's overwhelming, but 10 people a day, like that's totally doable. It's
yes.
not, it's not, yeah.
And it's a
So
compounding those little actions every day that create the compounding results.
yes, that's true.
Just like with the closets.
Um, yeah. And in 10 minutes, you can get so much done.
So much. So
So
much.
much.
I love you.
Okay. Thank you so much for talking to me. I was gonna schedule a 10:30 like consultation with you today, and then my husband was not available to watch my 5-year-old. I was like, I'm gonna have to schedule her tomorrow.
Oh my God, please do. I would love that. I seriously like let me know. I've got time on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. I was like, I would love to see you. You guys are just amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'll see you so soon, okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
And bye, Christina. I'll see you guys soon.